Hello folks, how you doing? It's Paul Anderson here. My weekly workshop. This week I thought I would work on a pipe march. And it's the only tune I'm going to go through, but I thought I'd go through it in detail. And the tune that I've chosen is a pipe march called MacLean of Pennycross, which is a great pipe march, one of my favourites. I certainly used to compete with it when I was much younger. Sorry, that music's going to tap there, I think. Well, we'll see if it happens. So this is a tune I used a lot when I was quite young, and go through phases of playing it and then setting it aside and moving on to something else for a while. But it is one of my favourites. So I thought I'd work through it in great detail. I'm going to have to shift this. This is going to tip. And the reason I think it's going to tip is the stands tipping forward. Sorry about that. That was quite dramatic from my side. I was failing to see what was going on. So, MacLean of Pennycross by, well, the music here says A. Ferguson, but it's actually Allan Ferguson. And I've also seen it written as Pipe Major Allan Ferguson. And unfortunately, I don't really care enough a lot about him, but that doesn't really matter too much. But it's a lovely pipe march, and I would almost say it sounds almost better on the fiddle than the pipes. Now that's quite a statement. It sounds lovely on the pipes, but it suits the fiddle. It's very melodic and enjoyable to play. So I'll play it through for a start, and then we'll go through it in detail and speak about various aspects of playing pipe marches and how I interpret it. I'm beginning to think this music stand is moving again. Sorry folks, I'm going to tighten it up a wee bit, sorry. Still here. Right, let's hope that's put an end to that nonsense. Is that going to work? Sorry, it's never very professional, this, is it? There, so back to MacLean of Pennycross. Let me just play it. So I've posted the music earlier in the day, and if you've got it, obviously it's a good time to go through it. I'm not going to play it slowly just now. I'm just going to play it through as I play it, and then we'll go through various aspects of it once we've done that. Okay, so MacLean of Pennycross by Allan Ferguson. There you go, so we'll get going eventually. MacLean of Pennycross, one of my favourite pipe marches, and this is the type of tune as a fiddler that we would have used at competitions a lot, and I'm not sure when it was kind of thought the proper type of pipe march to play for a fiddle championship, because I kind of think it was the sort of thing maybe necessarily Scott Skinner would have done in his day, but certainly when I started competing, and sometime before that, it became fairly common for folk to compete with pipe marches, but no 6/8 marches or 9/8s, very much 2/4 competition pipe marches is how they describe them. And I suppose there's aye 4 parts to them, generally speaking, and you've got room for interpretation, getting your note values right, light and shade. There's just more to get your teeth into it. So why it should be the case that they're so popular, I mean, there's no reason not to play pipe tunes at fiddle competitions, but I really can't say. But certainly I think Hector MacAndrew probably played a large part in that, because he was a great exponent of pipe marches on the fiddle. I can certainly mind hearing pipers being very critical of how fiddle players played pipe tunes, but I think if I can gather, Hector MacAndrew had pretty much universal respect for the great pipers, the pipe majors, the competitive pipers. And the reason for that is probably due to the fact that his father, as well as being a fiddle player, was a piper as well, Gardner at the Lord 585 Castle. So his feather piped up there a lot, and Hector grew up hearing pipe music as well as fiddle music, and Hector's family, they've got this tradition of the Neil Gow tradition. It goes right back to Neil Gow through tutors. But piping was strong in his family as well, and according to Pat MacAndrew, Hector's great idol wasn't it James Scott Skinner or William Marshall or Neil Gow. It was actually George S. MacLennan, Pipe Major George S. MacLennan, one of the greatest composers of pipe music ever, actually, for especially the light stuff. And in his day, he was kind of the boy genius. He was beating adults when he was in his junior year. So Hector had I suppose, quite a forensic way of interpreting pipe music. It was very much try to play it as pipers would play it. So that's kind of what I'm going to look at as regards this. This type of tune I would play in a similar style for every 2/4 pipe march that I would play. And certain things you look out for are pulling out the dotted notes, keeping the short notes very, very short, keep the tempo steady, consistent from start to finish. Try not to hack it up too much, because if you listen to bagpipes playing, there's a smoothness to the sound. The long notes are long, the short notes are short, but the air is constantly flowing through the chanter and the drones. So there's this constant sound of the drones, and the pipes kind of accent as heavily as the fiddle can. But if you listen to pipe music, it's got a flow to it. So there's a fluency to the music that the way I play it is pretty much based on how my teacher Dougie Lawrence played it, and he picked that up for Hector. But also when we were playing the Bankery Strathspey Reel, we got the same sort of stuff, like a James Smith was her maiden name. She was our junior orchestra leader, but she was a pupil of Hector MacAndrew. So you were kind of getting that Hector style of playing pipe marches for her. And also Sandy Cooper, who was the leader of the senior group, was a great admirer of Hector and how you play pipe music. To his mind was very much in that kind of school of playing. So that's kind of how I play it. So I'm just telling you how I do it. You can take it or leave it, it's up to you. But this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, play it through nice and slowly, start to finish with the repeats, and then we're going to pick out a few aspects. Now, you can take any bar you like, or only a couple of bars, only phrase, and actually how you interpret the note values and the ornamentation and stuff. You could pretty much take that template and put it to only 2 bars. The sort of things you'll find in a small area would be found in the other areas as well. So it's well worth taking a small group of notes and working on them slowly to really get a feel for them, and then you can apply them right through the rest of the tune, because Every short note should be the same length. The dotted notes are the same length. That doesn't chop and change. You're looking for consistency. So, back to the beginning. We'll try it again. I'm going to give a count to 3, and then we're going to come in with this great pipe march, MacLean of Pennycross. It's sometimes other names. I mean, I've only ever heard it really as MacLean of Pennycross, but it's sometimes called Captain MacLean of Pennycross. And then there's another title which it's maybe used in the piping world, but I've not heard it used by anybody competing with it. Sometimes known as MacLean of Pennycross's Welcome to the 93rd. The 93rd being the number of the regiment. Okay, so I reckon for regiment that is. If you want to go and look, be my guest. You could get back and tell me. So, here we go. MacLean of Pennycross. Nice and slow and steady. Pull out the long notes, keep the short notes short. 1, 2, 3. MacLean of Pennycross. So, it takes a while to play it actually when you're playing it slowly, because it's 4 measures. In this particular tune, the second measure and the last four bars, when you repeat the measure, they've got a different last 4 bars each time. So it adds on the things you have to watch out for. When we used to play with the Bankrester Spain Reel, when Sandy Cooper was the conductor, if you were playing a tune like this, a pipe march, it was very easy to get your note values mixed up, because sometimes you feel like they should do one thing but they're actually doing another. It's a I think it's a little man-trap for the unwary musician, that the piper sort of sometimes does something unexpected rhythmically. But Sandy used to go, and well, within reasonable limits, he used to go nuts. He would really stop, get your note values right, get your dots in the right place. And it did really impress upon me that it was quite important. If you were going to a piping competition, I mean, the judges will ken exactly for the dots are, and they need to be in the right place. If you're playing for a dance, I don't suppose anybody's really noticing. And I think if you play a pipe march, and for a lot of fiddle judges wouldn't pick up on it. Some of them would. I mean, if you were competing with Dougie Lawrence, my old teacher, being the judge, I pretty well ken he would pick up you're getting your dots in the wrong place. And I have seen this sort of thing where players have gone, because there's quite a lot of pipe tunes are quite similar, they've gone halfway through the tune and they've gone from one tune into another completely seamlessly. I've seen that happen. I've been judging when that's happened, and it does raise an eyebrow, but I have done it myself in competition. And first thing I do, once you realise, is take a quick look up to see if the judge has noticed. And so it's something you have to be careful of. So a lot of these 2/4 pipe marches, you have to be sort of on your toes as to how you handle them. So we'll go back again. First bar. So I'm looking for the long notes to be pulled out, short notes very, very short. So like this. If I could play it right, hold on. It's quite tricky bowing wise because there's a series of, if you're playing a strathspey, you would cut a series of snap bows. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. There's 3 of them in a row, and for a bowed instrument, what you find is it's down, up, down, up, down, up, and you find yourself going up the bow very easy. And if it happens, if you do that, your long notes begin to diminish. They get shorter and shorter till when you're playing that last thing, your short and long notes are about the same length. Now, really trying to maintain the long notes while keeping the short notes short. So the bowing is tricky. If you're playing a penny whistle, it really doesn't matter. So when you're playing something like that, it's kind of a lot of attack on the down, but slow on the up. So you're down, up, down, up, down, up. That attack on the down gets you up to the tip of the bow, as far up the bow as you can, for the long up bow, which is going to carry you closer to the heel. You want to get as far up and then slow and then up and slow and up and slow. Hopefully you can keep it in a manageable place, but it takes a bit of practice. And if you're going to play like this, that's going to be a problem for you, because your short notes and your long notes are all going to be much the same length. So if you like playing that way, this is maybe not your kind of thing, but I'm trying to pull out the kind of the way the pipers would play a traditional piper. If you're playing this for a dance, for instance, it's the kind of thing for a Canadian barn dance. You play frequently 2/4 pipe marches, but it's a different style entirely. It's more like that. I mean, it's cracking on. The dance requires a different treatment. I mean, I play for dancing now and again, but I have to say, musically, I prefer native, because I feel like as a player, I have to compromise a lot of it I like in playing of this kind of music. So I tend native too much, but yep, I like it more at the kind of solo speed. So let's go back again. Okay, so I'm using a 4th finger there, because it keeps it on one string. Let's play that a wee bit slower and try and pull out these long notes. see how the attack on the down, it's bringing me close at the tip and then slowing the up, so that I'm not kind of going down, up, down, up, down, up, and I'm up here at the end of that. I didn't want that because your long note is same length as your short note. Okay, so we'll try it again, move on a wee bit. 2, 3. That 4 notes. Let's try them. 2 down, 2 up, so it's. I add in the grace note there. I would tend to say for a fiddle player it's harder to play that with keeping the long notes pulled out than probably than a piper would find it, because the pipes, you're blowing into the bag, it's like a reservoir for the air, and you just keep that filled and the air comes out at a constant speed, so you're not going to accent it with your breath, so to speak. The fiddle, your bowing is really, really crucial to how that's going to feel, and so I wouldn't want to hark that up too much like this. So you can see how it's like harking sticks, can you really digging into it. And I think when I was a younger player, let's say when I was younger, not when I was young, which is actually obviously the truth because I'm 50 now, but when I was in my teens playing, I can certainly mind there was a lot of old boys that were kind of just country fiddlers, really good players, kind of idolised Scott Skinner almost, and thought highly of Hector McAndrew, and really put that kind of guys on a pedestal. And they would play pipe tunes, but they would definitely they would hark him up a bit, and that was the kind of thing that a lot of pipers didn't like about it. It was just too heavily accented. And I can absolutely say without a single exaggeration, I've heard kind of some of the older players playing like that. You don't tend to hear it so much now, but that's nae what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that fluency. Short notes are short, but the long notes are also long. You can't really see it here actually because I've got the camera cocked up a wee bit too high, but if you watch my wrist when I'm playing that, so that suppleness in the wrist really helps with that. If you're stiff in the wrist and it starts coming from the elbow, the subtleness disappears a little bit and it becomes much more muscular sounding, a wee bit hack it up. That's all I'm saying about it anyway. So I'm not looking for that. Certainly if I was judging, that's something I would pick up upon. Think about how a piper would play it. Listen to some of the great pipers. There's plenty of stuff online. If you want to ken how to play this type of tune, go and listen to how they play them. Listen to the tempo, the feel, the flow of the music. This type of tune, it's a pipe tune, so it needs ornamentation. That's a key part of the character of this type of music. I mean, as an instrument, the fiddle has far more scope with what you can do. You can play loud, you can play soft. The range is so much greater. I mean, you can go for the bottom of the fiddle. You haven't got that range in the pipes. Certainly in the Highland pipes. So they've got their 9 notes, play at one volume, but how they add a huge amount of character and colour to the music is the ornamentation. So if you're going to play pipe music, you need to ornament it. If it's there, there really is something missing. It's a bit like somebody that you're looking at that you can, and you're looking at them and trying to figure out, Fitz, something changed about you. What the hell is it? I can't figure it out. You've just in your own mind, you're not going to say it right out. And then you discover later on they have no eyebrows. Somebody has shaved their eyebrows off, and it's not totally obvious, but it changes the feel entirely. So no grace notes, there's something missing. I doubt if one of these probably heard that comparison, but it just popped into my head. So there you go. So let's take a look at a few grace notes. And now I go right for the beginning. And for the fiddle, it's really about further space in the music. You need a long enough note to be able to pop a grace note in. And also if you've got 2 notes the same, usually you can play a grace note in between. So if you get, so right for the start. Now crisp and clean, they should just sparkle, should be percussive. And really, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter what they are, as long as they just ornament. They should sparkle in the background, never dominate the tune. I shouldn't really be able to hear what note you're playing. If you're playing a grace note, I shouldn't be able to, it's off a first finger, I shouldn't be able to tell, is that a second or a third? It should be so crisp, clean and articulate, percussive, you shouldn't figure it out, it should be just there. And not really that noticeable, but it's the kind of thing, its absence really stands out. So let's go again. So for here I would go right for the beginning. And here, there I go. It's quite tricky off the down bow with a semi-quaver first. To get the idea. Idea. You can apply that all the way through the tune, exactly the same things applying in every bar for their space. The grace notes come in. I never ever plot out where they're going to go. When I play, the grace notes come for their space. So it's entirely an instinctive thing, which only really comes through perseverance and practice. It should be something that you work up to, and all of a sudden you don't need to think of it. They appear without being asked to appear when it's appropriate and from their space. They definitely need to be there though. And not just in pipe tunes, but certainly pipe music. If you're interpreting pipe music, you need to think about putting grace notes in to get the proper character. So let's go back again, beginning again. I'm going to go right through, nice and steady. So that kind of things, I'm looking for the long notes pulled out, the short notes short, kind of comes for the wrist, it flows. Grace notes, then I over accent it, and also what you tend to find now, I've been doing this since I was first playing 2/4 pipe marches. When you're playing as a soloist, a bit of light and shade dynamics really adds something to the feel of the music. It keeps your audience engaged in what's going on, so you bringing it down quiet and building it up. Now that can be just over a couple of bars, or what I would tend to say, a good rule of thumb, when you get to the third measure, you play a bit quieter. When you repeat that measure, it gets even quieter. Now to play that with control, you hear things like grace notes and hear every note at its right length. It takes a lot of bow control to be able to do that well. So somebody that's able to do that, you can tell they've been practicing. So it makes a big difference to the feel of the music. And then you get into that last fourth measure, just a steady build up, so that by the time you're into the last 4 bars, it's really, you're steaming towards the end. It's not a case of playing quicker. It's just that sense of crescendo and building up. And that's not just a Scottish fiddle thing. It's just general musicality. Okay, so light and shade and colour. Think about how you're playing it. You can overdo it, of course. That's another thing. So it needs to be tastefully done. For that kind of louds and softs in the third measure, the kind of thing that we were told about, imagine it's a piper marching away for you, and they're getting quieter and quieter and quieter, and then they get the point, getting into that last measure far, they turn and they're coming towards you, and it's getting louder as the pipes are getting closer. So if you think about it like that, it gives you a sort of very visual image in your mind when it comes to interpreting the music. So I think that's a good way to think about it. Another thing is, we were told about if you're playing a pipe march, I imagine the pleats on a kilt swinging when you're playing. It's near like that. There's a flow to the rhythm. There is a flow at the pleats. They've got a nice lovely swing. If you've ever walked a hin, folk in a kilt, if they came out to walk in it, there's a lovely swing to the back of the kilt. And so that mental image was something that was very much in the forefront of my mind when I was learning to play this sort of thing. And so I think it's a useful little thing to bear in mind when you're trying to play this sort of stuff. That sort of thing is easy to grasp. So take a look the next time you see a piper or somebody in a kilt walking down the road. Take a look at the pleats. Do they have a nice swing? Maybe they kind of walk in them. You need a certain type of ears, apparently. I've been told I've got that. I've got that type of ears. Well, there you go. So anyway, let's go through it slow and steady, and then we'll go back and I'm going to play it up to speed again. 2, 3. So it's a great tune, that MacLean of Pennycross. Pennycross, I'm pretty sure Pennycross is on Mull, because Mull was the heartland of the MacLean clan. In fact, Duart Castle on Mull is the clan centre for the MacLean clan, one of the most powerful clans in the Western Isles. Red Hector MacLean of the battles, he was the champion for the Lord of the Isles. Quite a violent kind of money, I think he was, but very capable. Died at the Battle of Harlaw in 1411, commanding one wing of the Lord of the Isles, his army. So Mull, how many MacLeans are left in Mull, I couldn't possibly say, but there's a lot of folk cleared, like a lot of other places, but a lot of folk cleared out of Mull. Now, there's a lot of folk bide in Mull still to this day, but how many MacLeans are there, I couldn't possibly say. But anyway, it's a great tune, and I hope you like it. Let's have a go again and maybe more up to speed. And I'll try and put in some louds and softs. Listen for the tempo. I mean, go and listen to some good pipers. That would be my advice. Folk like Willie McCallum, folk like that, Roddy McLeod, folk like that. Some of the old great masters of the pipes. If you start digging, you'll find them. You'll hear bad versions as well, but I try and find folk that are like Glenfiddich champions. That's the kind of guys that really can outplay this sort of stuff. If it comes to fiddle, I mean, Dougie Lawrence, see if you can get hold of his CD. He's got a couple of CDs that I'm sure you could get for Dougie. Near that heart of the track I'm doing. Also, there's one Hector McAndrew CD available, Legend of the Scots Fiddle, which is in green tracks, and there's a few stuff. I put that together actually at the Elphinstone Institute, and there's quite a few pipe marches on that, along with other things. It was made up of recordings that were candidly collected at his house, playing in the evening with a group of friends, and folk just sitting listening to Hector. You can't get on his original albums. I mean, you might find an LP now and again in an antique shop, but there's no currently available CDs, and very little online. But you can get that, and it's well worth getting just to get a taste of one of Scotland's master fiddlers. Right, let's go back to the beginning and diddle through it, and then I think my work here is done. Right, here we go. MacLean of Pennycross. Well, I hope that's been interesting. Informative. That's R&D in the night. One tune should be enough though. If you're going to go into things in proper depth, one tune is enough. So just a few pointers on how I play that tune. Absolutely the same sort of things would apply to any other pipe march I would be likely to play. The Brig of Fuch. Someone like MacNeil's A Ugadale, had I ken. The Braes of Castle Grant. Tunes like that kind of nature. Leaving Glenuchart would be another tune. John McMillan of Barra, great tune. Donald MacLean's for Well Oban. That types of tunes, that's the same sort of things that I would play in them. Notes are in different order, but I would treat them in exactly the same way with a similar feel. So there, I'll leave you till it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back next week with some other nonsense. Well, it's no nonsense, it's all good stuff of course, but I'll be back same time next week. We'll be live at the lounge on Friday, and that's at 8 o'clock, no 7 o'clock. And I think this weekend is, I think it's Remembrance Sunday. I'll need to check because it doesn't land at the weekend, but I think Sunday this weekend, I think it's the 8th, it would be the closest Sunday to Remembrance Day. So I think we'll be playing a few suitable tunes for that. There's plenty of material relating to the First and Second World War, so we'll do something for that. And if you've enjoyed it, look back next week. We'll see you Friday live at the lounge at 8 PM. And if you've enjoyed it and you feel like it, just tip jar is www.paypal.me/Paul Anderson Shonadon, because Donaldson doesn't fit. We'll see you later, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you